And we are live. Happy Sunday, everybody. Uh, woo it's Sunday. I just realized I don't have coffee. Oh, jeez. Cat, if you're watching this, Cat, I need coffee. Oh, God. All right. Um, let's see who we got in here. Oh, lots of people are in. Yeah, Booby. Can I have some rich, creamy coffee? Thank you. Look at, she's so good. Well, I'm back up here. Mark Sauvé, what's happening? Scoop. Dickie Farley, John Q. Public. Happy birthday, John Q. Public. Dean Stevenson, what's happening, brother man? Jim Giordano, KJ Kiley. Yeah, all the regulars are here already. Danny Boyd. Just falling through. Boomer, EFOG. So how you guys doing? This is like the last. Is this the last live of? No, it's not the last live of 2025 because I'm going to be on Sunday, New Year's Eve. Not Sunday. This is Sunday. Wednesday. I'm going to be on Wednesday, New Year's Eve. We'll probably do a long one. We'll probably try to go through midnight. Maybe we get some people want to jump in here with us, but let's get there first. Mexican Spec is saying the more I look at Bottle Rock, the more I picture a taxi. I picture a cop car, really, because when I was a kid running from cops, that's what they drove. They drove those Coke bottles, the B bodies. In New York, they had them. Oh, look, they stopped making that body style in like 77. So right up until like around 1979, 1980, those things were still around. And then they went to the Diplomats. And I think the first time I was arrested was in it. No, the first time I was arrested was in one of those cars. Let's see. Oh, there's the amazing and beautiful Kathy Bananas bringing me rich, creamy, life-giving coffee. Where you going, babe? Come on, sit for a minute. Sit for a minute. Of course, they're people, they love you. They want to see. They're like, Kathy hates us. Kathy's like, screw these people. Yeah, that's how they feel about it. Sit for a minute. Look, she's coming to sit for a minute. Look how good she is. Boomer saying hi. Hi. Scoop is saying hi. Dickie Farley. Look, they all love you. Freddie Bebop says, we always knew the cops were coming back then. We could hear the 4 bells kicking in a mile away. Yeah, wait, just so that they know you're here. You don't have to come all the way in front of the camera. I know. She's very camera shy. Here, there you go. So you can see her shoulder. Oh, yeah. Answer everything with hand signals. See, Danny Boyd says it. Kathy hates us.
No, I don't.
Well, prove it. Sing them a song.
No, I don't have to prove shit. No.
Sing them a song.
No, I don't sing. No.
She sings all day long. All day long. Right? Gregorian chants and ABBA. Right? It's this crazy mix of stuff that she does.
Kind of the same thing.
Yeah. And Raider Gods. Have you found a solution to the bushings? Not yet. I haven't. That was I just made the video and then I came home and I gave it to Kathy. It says, "Here, baby." And
that's not what you said.
What did I say?
You said I made you a video.
Right. So I told her I made her a video, and she turned it into the thing. I gave her like almost 14 hours of video, and she whittled it down to 11 minutes to make me look good. Because most of the time I'm dribbling and like it's terrible. You make me look like a god. Yeah, I stutter. I talk all over myself.
The light in your glasses is an issue.
I start screaming in tongues. Yeah, it's terrible. And then she fixes it. Swamp Rat is in the house.
So much.
My brother, Normal James. Merry Christmas, Normal James.
Merry Christmas, James.
Yeah, come. She wants to see your face. She is beautiful, isn't she? That's what got her in the door. The freckles got her in the door.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. You missed the bushing video. Yeah. That's a good. Go watch the bushing video. Well, I mean, it's okay. It's an okay video. But she made it great. What are you leaning over there for?
I'm trying to read it. That's all.
I
can see it.
Here, you want to answer?
No, I don't want to read.
Sweaty fat guy drools in his videos too. Takes hours of editing. It takes tons of time. Yes, I know. Same thing with me. It's terrible.
The glare in your glasses is an issue.
Yeah, well,
To
you
fix
yelled at me
that.
for that.
I did yell at you
Yeah.
for that.
I gave it a video when I ran out on the motorcycle, and when I got to where I was, I looked at the phone, and she was just yelling at me. The glare in your glasses.
I told you. I said, can you shoot it again? And you're like, no.
Your replacement won't be so lackadaisical, is what she tells me.
I didn't say that. But it was a little lackadaisical.
Um,
I'm not a miracle worker.
well, you could have fooled me. Look at how good you make everything look.
No, it doesn't look good. It looks very unprofessional. It does not look good.
Rocco saying Tony's so happy that his silver broke 85. No, I'm not. I wish silver would go back down to $7. I can go buy a bunch more. That's the thing most people don't understand about stackers. I'm a stacker, which means I have no intention of selling. I don't have any. There's no dollar price for me. Stackers count their money not in money, but in ounces. So it's like I have this many ounces. So when the price goes really high, you don't have as many ounces. So it's backwards of how most people think, but that's what it takes to be a successful stacker. Fubar just put the lurch. See, this is what she fixes. What?
Nothing.
Fubar just put up a link to the merch, which Kathy Banana, Uncle Kathy here, right there. What? When you guys order stuff or from UncleTonyGarage.com,
yeah,
she actually puts it all together. Sometimes she actually prints the shirts. What? How do I put your hair? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a bastard.
No. Oh. I do have to print one shirt.
See, she's going to print shirts. So put her to work.
No. I like to sell the ones that are already printed.
Yeah, but that's not always. So yes, she does all that. And she puts it in the package with her pretty little hands. Show me pretty little hands. Right? She puts them in the package and she writes out the thing. And she kisses each envelope before it's printed. She prints out each envelope and then she kisses the package. She goes to the package.
It's weird. It's so weird.
I'm trying to explain to them how much. I'm trying to tell them how much you love when they buy merch. And
I'm gonna make a dog shirt.
Okay, do that. Yes. Show it on the back of our minivan.
Minivan.
Yeah. Didn't you take a picture of the back of the minivan with the dog?
No, I didn't.
All right, never mind, man.
Should I do that?
Sure, you should. You should. This way, you can show me. You can show off your handiwork.
Where's my phone?
What you worked on? I don't know. That's my phone.
My handiwork.
Let's see. So yes, that's the merch situation. Let's see. Rolling back up here. David Bowen, thank you. Happy holidays to you, my brother. Billy Bob, our pretty lady. She's a good looker, yes. Sweaty fat guys. He's stacking rust. It's attached to cars. Easy mining. Greg Sprung, thank you for the super chat. Cool to see you. She's doing very well. She's doing very well. Her diet took a long way, and now she's working on different types of exercises, like working different muscle groups and stuff that she don't normally do to try to make some connections around the damage. So, and it's working. She's having a hard day today though. Let's see. Rocco, don't want to hear about the minivan. Oh, Rocco, no, wait till you see what we got on the back of the minivan, man. It's the coolest thing in the world. Let's see. Scoop is saying, I can melt copper over coals to make ingots. Copper, bro, I'm telling you, copper is going to be the next thing. It's the sleeper right now. Nobody's talking about it. You watch what happens with copper. Percentage-wise, copper is going to beat silver. Let's see. Fall carbazole nitrogen iridium. No, I don't need to blow that thing up. It's a dog carrier. I need it for what we bought it for. Let's see. Rocco, if it's not 500 pounds of thermite, I'm not going to like it. You're going to like this. I guarantee you're going to like this. I'm having a very hard time talking tonight because yesterday I was eating a burrito, a very very large burrito, and I bit my tongue like hardcore. I bit through my freaking tongue. So it's very hard for me to talk like tonight. And if I sound weird, anything like that, it's because I can't move my tongue. It's like paralyzed. Fixing up a dart, I see. I don't have it. I've only got one dart currently. It's long way from being all the way from being worked on. Mexican Spec is saying a large burrito is called a burro. Kathy, I was eating a burro yesterday when I bit my tongue.
It's a burrito.
He says Mexican Spec says a large burrito is a burro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Can you make that bigger? Yeah. There it is. Whoop. So that's the back of the minivan. How's that, huh? Is that the coolest thing you've ever seen or what? So the dog's arm waves like that's actually the wiper blade. So when you turn on the back wiper, the dog goes like this. Is that the coolest thing you've ever seen in your life? 72Z20 says a large burrito may also contain burro. Lincoln Roach is saying, Tony, please stop. What, Lincoln, what do you want me to stop? I need to change the oil in my glasses. These glasses are actually, I bent them specifically, right? See the angle that they're on, right? I bent these specifically so that there wouldn't be glare. Or if I hold my head straight like this, there's no glare. So
except when you make videos.
That's a genius modification. Well, I wasn't using these glasses at the shop. I leave these glasses here so that when I do this.
Oh, you get a new camera here. So.
Yes.
All right, you don't need me anymore.
You leaving?
That's fine. I'm leaving.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Sing a goodbye song.
Bye, everybody.
That's not a goodbye song.
No, it's not.
Do something from like the Sound of Music.
No.
All right, she's leaving.
Bye. Have fun.
Unceremoniously. Thank you for bringing me coffee.
You're welcome.
Delicious, rich, creamy, life-giving
You
coffee.
have juice too.
And I have juice. Yes.
Okay. Have fun.
Okay.
You have the store open and shut.
Sweaty fat guy saying bye, Kathy.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, shut the door.
Okay.
All right. How do you turn on the rear wiper on a Durango? It's not a Durango. It's a Chrysler Town and Country minivan. Lincoln is saying stop with the van. Dude, different purposes require different vehicles. And for the purpose that we have for that, which is hauling our dogs in their crates and all of their equipment and all of the stuff to set up camp at these dog events, there is no better vehicle for it. So it's like it fits the bill. Like a dragster fits drag racing, a minivan fits the purposes that we use it for. Uh, Mexican spec is saying call it a maxi van, and people will like it. I didn't think of that. Yes, it is a maxi van. Um, let's see. In power vision, the question: do exhaust cuts normally backfire on deceleration? I've never had exhaust cutouts, so I don't know. Um, Deceleration on or backfiring on a deceleration is usually a small exhaust leak. Sometimes it's so small that you can't hear the exhaust coming out, but when you take your foot off the throttle and the pressure in the exhaust turns to vacuum, it pulls outside air in, and when the outside air comes in there, it lights off on fuel in the exhaust, and that's when you get that the popping on deceleration. So that's that's probably what it is. Rocco is saying, I was watching your Fox Body reunion video the other day. The older gentleman was talking about workarounds for proprietary technology. Everything is old again. That was Bernie Golick. He was great, man. Bernie passed about a month after we shot that, and we shot that like 6 years ago. And then I re-released it just because I thought it was really cool. And I had so many old friends that were in there that I just wanted to post it again. But yeah, Bernie was awesome, man. He was he was like the like he was older than us, of course, at the time, but he was like the voice of the future. You know what I mean? Because he knew all the computer stuff, and we were still like trying to wrap our heads around it all. So I learned a lot from Bernie. We all learned a lot from Bernie. Um, let's see. Um, I dropped in on Buff Del Campo and Kim's live last night. I was flipping through the TV and I saw. I said, "Oh, the Buffers and Kim are live on the shop." So I jumped in there last night just to say hi. And they built. Years ago, I gave them a Valiant that somebody had like just dumped in my lap, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this car. Here, Buff, take this car and do something with it. So they turned it into an El Camino, or what they call the it's a Buff Del Camino, and it's actually coming out really nice. They got a picture. They got a picture of an Australian Ute, a Valiant Ute that they're working off of, and they're duplicating this thing exactly, and they're doing a really freaking good job. You guys want to see some cool stuff? Buff Del Campo's channel. Um, that's it. Mexican spec. The Buff Del Campamino. Uh, let's see. I'm just scrolling up here. Uh, Stubby, yes, please. Oh, God, Stubby. Um, Andre Alvarez, good evening. Um, Yui, what's happening, bro? Do you like Oldsmobile rocket engines from the mid-60s? Yes. There's very few things from the 60s that I don't like. To me, the 60s were just a magical era where everything kind of came together in that period of time. From 1958 to like 1972, right? So call that the 60s. Um, Everything was really good. Everything was really cool. Some of it was a little quirky. Some of it was a little weird, but by and large, it was, in my mind, it was the peak of analog technology. It was when cars were the most advanced with the most amount of user serviceable and universal systems. Um, and styling, the styling of the 60s was just iconic. It was classic. Um, so yeah, I like the Oldsmobile Motors, definitely. 990 Hemis. Yes, don't forget 864s, man. Nobody ever remembers those. It's always A990 with your magnesium cross ram and aluminum cylinder heads. Um, Dickie Farley. Tony, how much do you or UTG chat think my 1977 LE2 Corvette 4-speed would be worth? It's all original besides air cleaner and radio, and it's got a little over 77,000 miles. Shine Up looks almost new still. If it's a original car, 77,000 miles, 77. I'm going to say, not really being, I'm not like a Corvette aficionado. So it's hard for me to actually say the pricing on something like that. I'm going to say someplace between like 15 and 20,000, probably in that range, if it's that clean. If it's that nice, you get in, turn the key, the paint looks good, you can actually wax it and step back. I'm going to say between 15 and 20,000. What do you guys think? Am I in the ballpark with that? Let's see. Danny Boyd is saying 1960s USA will never be matched or beat. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Peter Kuhn. You liked your last video of the bushing. Years ago, my employer was paying $3,000 for big electronic brake and cooler fans. We Googled the fan VIN number and found the identical fan for $250. Gouging and taking advantage has always been, right? Always been. But the scale, you know what I'm saying? The scale, at $3 bushing for $57. There's not even like there's a moving part involved. Think about it. After I filmed that, I realized, that's a point, right? But there's not even a moving part involved. It's not even like a bearing that you say, oh, it's got rollers and it's got, no, it's just a hunk of bronze with a hole bored through the middle of it. That's just so freaking ridiculous. You know that they ordered those things millions at a time, okay? And right now, in some part of the Harley Davidson world, the complex, there are bins filled with tens of thousands of them, right? Just randomly here, grab a handful of them, right? And you know the unit price on it was probably 13 cents each, 15 cents each when you were dealing with that many of them, right? So it's just so freaking ridiculous. Dickie Farley. I appreciate it. My grandma's home with the Corvette. My grandma bought the car new a few years after it was new and my grandma bought the car a few years after it was new and has kept it in the garage most of its life. It's definitely a little over 77,000 actual miles. She's got a cool grandma. Very cool grandma. My grandma used to just like yell. She used to just curse me out in Italian, really. And yeah. They never had Corvettes. Oh, my grandfather was a Mopar guy. On my mother's side, he had a '66 car in it that I remember going to the dealership when I was a little kid and buying the car new. He had a '71 Charger, 318 car, but yeah, he bought a series of Chrysler products back then. Um, Scrolling back up. Mark Survey saying, I forget now if it was a Cummins 6-liter, but the washer behind the harmonic balancer is $459 US. You know, if I come across stuff like that, the type of video that I did today, right, it gets a lot of views. They always get a lot of views, right? Because people love the bad stuff. Oh, we're getting screwed this way. Oh, it's so bad that way, and this is so ridiculous this way. Those videos get a lot of views, and that video we put out today is going to get a lot of views. I only do them. I don't go looking for them, right? I don't go looking for the problem. It's only when the problem drops itself right in my hand. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't miss this. Like, this is something that's really ridiculous, and I'm aware of it right now. But I don't go looking for it. I don't go searching, for, what's the latest terrible thing that's going on. That was my experience with the bushings, and I have a lot of these experiences. So, but I don't want to be that channel, and that's why I actually, Kat and I talk about this all the time. We could put out a video every other day and get 200, 300, 400,000 views on each video if that's what we did. If we stop doing like regular normal car stuff, we stop doing carburetor stuff, we stop doing like hot rod stuff or race car stuff and shit like that, because those things get no views. They get no views. You do top fuel things, and it gets 20,000 views if it's lucky, right? You do modifying this carburetor or fixing that thing or how science works in an intake manifold, whatever it is, and crickets. It gets nothing, right? All the good gearhead stuff that people want to see. You do something about, look, I just got robbed blind from the parts counter at Harley Davidson or something like that, and it gets hundreds of thousands of friggin' views. And I can get very, very wealthy doing that, but I don't want to be that friggin' channel. I don't want to be that channel. It's what people ask for. It's like all the time in the comments, like, why don't you get back to doing stuff like you used to? Show us how to degree a camshaft. Show us how to measure push rods. Because I have bills to pay, and if I do those videos, nobody freaking watches them. But I still do them. I'm not going to not do that type of video, but it's just economics. I wish it wasn't like that. I honestly wish I had nothing to pay about. Wheelie King, what's happening, man? I saw a 67 Polara in the wild today, and I was like, damn, that's a gorgeous car. You see anything from that era out in the wild, and it always looks so majestic. Oh, my tongue. Guys, this is probably going to be a short live tonight because I'm having a really hard time talking. If you just joined us, yesterday it was gavooning on a burrito, a very large burrito, and I got a little too enthusiastic, and I bit through the side of my tongue, so it's all swelled up, and I have a hard time like forming words. So I may cut it a little short tonight, but I'll be on Wednesday night, which is New Year's Eve, and we'll probably do a long one. We'll probably just do like a marathon type of thing. So we'll bring in 2026 together. Your speech doesn't sound any different, but yeah, you may not hear it. I hear it. It's like I feel like I'm slurring words. Buford, you need to do a video on how to wheelie your Sportster. Funny you bring that up, because in my neighborhood, there's a cult of Sportster stunt riders. The Papa Clutch gang. See, I can't even talk. The Papa Clutch gang. And they're all guys who are like they're mid to early 20s, and they all ride Sportsters, and they're all set up for stunting. So on any given night, you hear a bunch of Harleys going down the street, whack, 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 and they're all standing up and doing their burnouts and stuff like that. Really good kids, really good kids. I went riding with them one night. Not that I can ride anywhere near like these guys do. I don't have that sense of acrobatics. You know what I mean? Or the balls. I'm 63 freaking years old. You know, they take a dumbbell and break an arm or a leg or whatever, and it's like, okay, what are you gonna do, right? I do it, and I'm sidelined for a long time, so I've definitely become more cautious in my older age. Well, I went riding with them one night. It was so much fun. Um, really good guys. Uh, James, swap rat. That's my brother Noble James from up in the People's Republic of New Jersey. I had a Polara. You got me. You said every time the carburetor went on fire, it was normal. Just take your jacket, take your jacket off and put it out. Yes, yes. I got it was a white 67. No, it was a white 68 Polara, 3 to 3 2 barrel. It was, and yes, it was prone to carburetor fires. Um, Andrew Button is saying usually the people with Sportsters got of humbling from other Harley guys. Other Harley people who don't appreciate Sportsters, I have no time. I have no time or space in my head or in my life for people who have something to say about Sportsters. Sportster is the only Harley Davidson I have any interest in. It's the only Harley Davidson I've ever had any interest in. It's just there's something about the basic design of those bikes that talks to me, and they're universal. You take the basic frame, the engine and the frame, and just by changing a few different components around, all external stuff, you can have like 3 or 4 different bikes in your garage using one motorcycle. Is that you know what I mean? Today I feel like a cafe racer, and within like 2 hours you can switch over handlebars and pegs and stuff like that, and then tomorrow morning I'm an obnoxious bar hopper and on go the ape hangers and then full solo seat. It's like the universal motorcycle. You do anything you want with it. So I think that's how I appreciate them more than anything else. You could do the same thing with Diners and stuff, but it's not the same effect. The Sportster is just such the universal blank slate motorcycle. It's so simple, so easy to work on. I just so yes. If anybody who has any shit to say about the Sportster, they can take a hike. I got no time for them. I'm the same way with 4-door cars, right? There's lots of people, that's a 4-door. It's a parts car. It's like, I have no time for you. I don't need your silly noise in my head. I don't count doors. I don't have the time to walk around and count the doors on every car I encounter. That's ridiculous. Uh, let's see. I'm just scrolling back up here. Dean Stevenson for PSA. This burrito may cause tongue damage. I I I eat very enthusiastically. When I like something, it's just I, when I like something, I can't help myself. I just eat it extremely enthusiastically, and sometimes it um, let's see. Raider Gods. Do you have opinions on a 103, the 1690 motor? Probably not. Just I don't. I'm totally unfamiliar with it. Like I said, the only Harley Davidson I ever paid any attention to was Sportsters. Um, so I've worked on when I was in New York. I did a lot of random motorcycle work. So I mean, I've worked on big twins and all, but I have no, no special knowledge of them at all. Olive is in the house. What's happening, Olive? Uh, Pretty Lies. Why are the 83 to 87 Thunderbirds as popular as others 19 car Mustangs G bodies? You're saying why aren't they? Because I actually happen to really like that body style. Um, the turbo coupes were just beautiful. I mean, Ford really nailed it. That was a car that was difficult to give any type of personality to, stylistically. But if you ask me, with the turbo coupes are just perfect, right? Perfect, beautiful cars. Why aren't they as popular? They didn't make as many. Well, they're they're more fragile. I know it's a Fox body. It's a Fox body car. It's more fragile than the G bodies and stuff like that. Um, they just they weren't, with the exception of a couple of models, like I said, like the turbo coupes. They just weren't very interesting cars. Um, Matt Cassoni, 73 four-door satellite. Everyone tells me to cam it and put headers. Any advice? What are you using the car for? Um, if it's a driver, right, something you use every day, or Sunday afternoon type of thing, or you just like to make trips with it and stuff. No, don't hot rod it. Cars like that. Now think about it. It's a 55, going to be 56-year-old car. If it's made it this far with all of its original parts intact and it's still a running functional car, in my mind, it's a sin to modify it. It's one thing if you got it and the motor was out of it or blown up, or or your purpose for it was drag racing or whatever, right? Then yeah, okay, do what you're gonna do. But if it's a driver, no, absolutely not. Just leave it alone, leave it stock, and enjoy it. If you're gonna upgrade it, let's say it's a 318, and you say, oh, I have to have more power for whatever reason, put a 360 in it. But use all factory parts, bolt it together the way the factory did. That's my opinion on that. And the 73 B bodies. So a lot of people don't realize they changed the B body platform from 72 to 73. So up until 73, up until 72 is the last year. It was a conventional old school unibody, right, with the K frame solidly mounted to the front segments, front frame segments. They were solid cars, but kind of harsh, right? In 73, they changed the mounting of everything. Now the K-frame was isolated, so it was mounted off of like rubber mounts. So 73 and up B bodies drive and ride like full frame GM cars, because essentially they are, with the suspension isolated from the rest of the car. It's just like a full frame car with body mounts. So they are the sweetest riding cars. There's also a weight penalty. They're like 75 to 100 pounds heavier than like the equivalent. Like your 73 is about 100 pounds heavier than the 72 equivalent. But that's besides the point. I would leave it alone. If it's intact, just enjoy the car as the classic survivor that it is. Let's see. Joker is saying these YouTube ads are getting really bad. Dude, I it's how I get paid. Without the ads, there's no channel, so it's like, what do you want me to do? I'm not crazy about it. I don't get to pick the ads that are on there. And some of the ads, I know some of the ads are put are like, what the hell are you advertising on my channel, right? But this is how they get paid. I'm scrolling up. Greg Sprung, the Lincoln LS, you did a burnout on Wall Street. I certainly did, with the twin towers in the background. Hang on, I'm gonna find it. Hang on. So this was from Cars Illustrated magazine. This was back in 1986. All right, hang on now. Wall Street Whaler. Come on. Internet, but my phone is very slow here tonight. Yeah, here it is. So this was a drag test that we did on that car for Cars Illustrated magazine. And me and the photographer, it was Cliff Gromer that shot that picture. So we got up at the name of the story was Wall Street Whaler. So we got up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, grabbed some coffee and stuff, and ran out to the city. And the plan was to do a burnout right on the corner of Wall Street and Broadway before all of the morning commute got there. So that's what we did. So that car was on the corner of that picture was taken on Wall Street with Broadway right behind it and looking up at the Twin Towers, and Cliff laid down on the street. And I did the burnout, and that was so a very, very classic picture, very classic picture. I've been at this for a long time. I've covered a lot of ground. It's only when stuff like that pops up, and it's like, yeah, wow, I remember I did that too. Yeah. Firefly, Tony, any plans for a mini lathe and some bronze bearing stock? No, no. I used to know guys who had little machine shops in the sheds and stuff like that. I don't really know anybody anymore who does that. But for me myself, no. I don't have the mindset for it. I honestly don't. If I was younger, if I was in my 30s, my 40s, and I said, yes, I'm going to start making things for myself. No, I'll let somebody else do that. Um, Van Manderpoots. Why you no like Mopar FMJ? It's not that I don't like them. It's just they really started to stray from the design language that I personally relate to with the Mopars. Um, they the F bodies, yes, it's just really an extension of or an evolutionary step in the A body line. I get that, but they started to stray more and more and more from the bare bones, brutally simple cars that I fell in love with. You know what I'm saying? They just changed, and it just doesn't have that same feel to it to me. Um, Andrew Button was what times on the LSC? I don't remember, man. I don't remember. I don't remember. I'm sure if you Google Wall Street Whaler, that was the name of the story. Well, put in Wall Street Whaler Lincoln LSC test. I'm sure the story will come up, and you can find the numbers in there. Um, let's see. Zero. When did you sneak in here? I don't believe did I see you before? I don't even know. I'm having an alternate reality experience here today. And I'm holding back a sneeze. So if you see me making faces like this, it's because I've got a sneeze on top of my incredibly swollen tongue. I'm not having an easy night tonight. Um, Mega sneeze. Usually, yeah, Dean. Usually, when you get that sneeze, or when I get them, and it tortures you, it usually manifests in a double or triple sneeze. Oh, okay. You just got here a few minutes ago. All right. Um, Thunderbird 68. Tony, what was the fastest stock car you ever tested for a magazine? Um, Bone stock. I did nothing at all to the car. I just drove it. The Regal T type, and we ran 13 1383 or 1385. I don't even remember. Um, but yeah, because I had an IROC that I tickled into the 13s. My Mustang ran 1390 stock, 1391 stock. Like before I defined stock. See, that's the thing. I'm thinking the day or the week that I had the car to test, because my Mustang eventually ran 1343 with that thing on street tires, on through the catalytic converters with all of the stock stuff in there, but the sway bars were pulled out. And by that point, I had months of running the car, street racing the car, and making laps, time trials at the track. So I don't count that as like the fastest stock car. I put a 350 TPI vet or IROC in the 13. I put a vet in the 13s, but they were like 1390, 1395, like that. I think the only car that went to the 1380s stock the week that I had it was the T type. But then again, this is 40 years ago, so I mean, I might be forgetting a car or two. Um, I'm just scrolling back up here. Mean Street Mopar. I'm building a 1984 Dodge Diplomat police package car. It's getting a 360 and a 46 RH. Did you see the one that Dylan McCool did? I had to finish that before it got cold. It's cold. Dylan McCool did one. I don't know how he worked out with it, how it worked out, but I remember I saw a couple of installments where he had a Diplomat cop car and he put a turbocharged 360 in it. I think they were still like working it out. Well, they were like the last I saw, like the car, like the usual teething pain kind of issues. But yeah, man, that's that. Go for it. Let's see. $12.99 for $12.99. Yeah, but that wasn't a stock car that I drag tested. That was modified. There's a difference. Good evening, Rapid Transit Garage. Lean fucking burn Cordoba. Do you think a well-tuned Cordoba with a 400 would be right up there with the earlier Mopars times-wise? Lower 13s? Oh, okay. No. So Cordoba, it's a V-body, okay, and it's really the same as a 73 Roadrunner. So as far as the chassis goes. The Cordoba has more front overhang. It's got that ISO suspension, which weighs a lot. The biggest drawback on those cars, aside from the weight, because there were a lot of stuff in those cars. They were heavy cars. Those things were all in the 4,000 pound range, 3,800, 3,900. Is going to be gearing. So like a 391 gear, really efficient exhaust, a properly like a well-balanced system with that 400. You could probably see low 14s, maybe on a good day, if you're really sharp with everything, maybe into the high 13s. Low 13s, not without a major rework. By the time you do enough stuff to that car to get into the low 13s, it's no longer like just a Cordoba. And it's a hot rod. It just happens to be in a Cordoba shape. Rocco, Tony, are you letting Dr. Art suffer in silence over at his place? No, this is a Sunday night show, man. Dr. Art, he's here on Wednesdays, not Sunday. Main Street Mopar. I'm not putting a turbo on it. No, I was just mentioning that he had one that he did. It's got a Center Mopar Performance Magnum RT heads and an M1 single plane intake manifold. I also got rid of the ISO clamp suspension. It has a 456 gear currently. Interesting. Interesting. It sounds like it could be a fun car, man. Have you run it at all yet? Lean Run Cordova, was the grip problem with the FMJ cars mostly? It didn't have the tire tech of the later 80s cars. Biggest problem with the FMJ bodies is that front suspension with the transverse torsion bars doesn't react the way a traditional Mopar suspension does. And that's by design. That's by design. They were looking for a car, they were looking for a ride that was more similar to the ride that people, the coil spring ride that people were familiar with the GM and the Ford cars. And so that's why they went to that transverse front, the torsion bars. They don't react like on a traditional Mopar, A body, B body, E body, whatever. First, you don't even need shocks in the front of those cars. The shocks are just along for the ride. They do nothing really. On a normal torsion bar car, the typical thing was you took the upper bump stops off, right, to let the thing rise. They transfer weight very well. B body, the earlier Mopar. When they went to the FMJ body and that transverse mounted front torsion bar, and you also on the B bodies, you sway bar. If it had a sway bar, you take that off too, and it would unload even quicker, transfer the weight. So from the factory, it was almost like they designed those cars for drag racing. Like that was the primary thing. It's like, yes, let's make a factory drag car, and it just happened to be the normal, say A and B body Mopar. The ISO cars, they changed the design philosophy a little bit. So you still have the asymmetric leaf spring, which works in your favor, but the front end doesn't want to transfer as freely as the older cars did. And so you don't get that weight transfer. The weight transfer happens, but it happens very gradually. Where on an earlier B body, earlier style, the weight transfer is like almost instant, and it's far. You get a lot of distance out of it before the weight of the tires and the wheels stop the upward movement, unless you can actually go into a wheelie, where the later cars don't experience that. So because you don't get that weight transfer, they just don't bite, and you don't get that initial hit the way you do. And that's why, generally speaking, the ISO cars, FMJ bodies, are slower. Okay, I'm scrolling back. Don Messi, I think that's how you pronounce it. What are your thoughts on a 55 Belvedere 270 V8 wagon? I picked one up a week ago. Would you leave it stock or make it more freeway friendly? If so, what's a good combination you'd suggest? Well, 270 poly. That's a great little motor. Um, okay, two things, right? That car is going to have 323 or 355 rear. 323 not so bad. 355 it's going to be humming down the highway. Um, if I would recommend like a 294 gear set and put a PCV valve in it, right? And that car has a road draft tube. Okay, eliminate the road draft tube, and in its place a PCV valve, and make sure it has obviously make sure it has a free breather someplace else in the system. And I don't really remember where they put the breather on those cars. I think it's just in the oil cap, and that's fine. Um, Add a PCV system and a more highway friendly gear, and that's pretty good. Also, take a look over at Kiwi's channel because he's got a 57 Belvedere wagon, 56, 57. And he did a whole thing with it. He drove it back. He bought in California, drove it back here to Tennessee, like 2,000 miles. Um, so you might want to check in on Kiwi's Classics and Customs. And he would know that car. He's been through it like every way to Sunday. He would know that car much better than I would. Let's see. Firefly looks at centered bronze bullion prices. Copper bullion. I'm telling you guys. Okay, remember, I've been I've been the one telling you about silver for like many years. Okay, we started talking about silver on lives back when we first started this channel. So I told you about silver. Been telling you about silver for years. Now I'm telling you about copper bullion. And don't waste your time with old pipes and stuff like that. Right? It's still cheap. Go find some copper bullion or pre-82 pennies or stacked nickels. Nickels are mostly copper. So yeah, just remember who told you about it. And Fubar, just for going to my merch, you could buy silver, you can buy copper, or you can buy UTG merch, which would be like these hats and these shirts and anything else that's in that store at UTG.com. Thank you, Fubar. Yeah, Danny Board is saying you need a PCV valve and the valve cover to suck the oiling system, but you also need an inlet for replacement air. Yes, I said the breather, and I think the breather on that engine is in the oil cap. So the gaskets don't get sucked in, and you want to filter the replacement. Yeah. Okay. What's on the silver went to 83 plus a couple of hours ago. Now it's 78-ish. It's gonna bounce around. After the run up that it had on Friday, it was the 10%. Whoever thought silver go 10% a day, right? What did it close at? 79.12, I think. That was ridiculous. It should, if it's a normal market, and it's not a normal market, right? But if it pretends to be a normal market, it should come down into the 60s, 65, 70 would be like a healthy pullback. I would expect to see that. I'm hoping it goes back down into the 40s. Anything that gaps up the way it did is due for a major correction. So, like back into the 40s would be considered a crash. It'd be considered 30% is considered a crash, but it wouldn't really be a crash. It would just be a major correction on a major run up. So that's what I'd like to see. I don't think we're going to see that, but I'm betting tomorrow at some point. I'm betting tomorrow we close someplace in the 60s, 63, 64, 65. But you never know. You never know. Watch overnight tonight. The Shanghai is open now. Watch what it does overnight. But I'm personally rooting it for it to go down. I want it down. Instead, I want it down significantly. Let's see. All parquet don't play is in the house. My duster needs a PCV valve. It doesn't have one. Put one in there now. All parquet. Takes a smaller PCV valve. Yeah, you get that at any auto parts store. Never run a street engine without a PCV valve. Trust me on this. Um, uh, SE me 2PT. I can't remember what that name is. JP Morgan has cornered the market on silver. They always win. Tell that to the Chinese, and tell that to the Russians, and tell that to the Indians. Well, they laugh at JP Morgan. They go, JP Morgan. With JP Morgan, as big as JP Morgan is, it's a speck of fly shit when you compare it to the collective buying power of everybody else. So yes, JP Morgan is a giant among us, and it's nothing in the bigger grand scheme of things. So with all of these countries, China is restricting silver exports as of January 1st. Russia is now calling it a strategic metal. India has been buying it like there's no tomorrow. And I have a funny feeling that Trump is going to declare it a strategic metal. I mean, it already is a strategic metal. I almost guarantee it's going to match the Chinese and not allow any exports. Okay, now you're talking about like infinite money. Okay, versus J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan loses. Uh, yeah, J.P. Morgan did go long silver last week, but J.P. Morgan is still playing the paper market, and the paper market is currently being disassembled. There is no viable functional paper market anymore. That's what this run up has been to whatever it closed at $79, $80. I don't even know what it is. This is a disassembly of the paper market, and JP Morgan is part of the paper market. And now you're talking about physical, big, giant stockpiles, physical. And while JP Morgan definitely has some physical, it's not enough to match. It's watch what happens with JP Morgan. Uh, Rocco, Tony, will the U.S. confiscate privately held silver? No, they won't do it. They won't do it for a couple of reasons, but the biggest reason is that we're a different society than we were in the 1930s when they confiscated gold. There's a lot more information out there today. People aren't as blindly trusting of the government as they were back then, where it was like, okay, hand us your gold, we'll give you $33 for it. That's what confiscation was. They didn't just come and take it because nobody's going to give it to you if you just take it. So they bought it at the going rate of $33 an ounce. And then as soon as they had the bulk of it, they increased it to $42 an ounce. So that was just the kind of thievery that the government is known for. So this time is different. This time is different. The general public does not trust the government anymore. They know that the government doesn't have our best interests in heart. There's no way people would cooperate. There's no way people would cooperate. The physical silver will be used to fund breakaway economies is what it comes down to. And that's what the states are doing. That's why, like Tennessee, for example, last year, Tennessee is now, gold and silver are now considered legal tender in Tennessee. Florida is voting on that right now. Florida is making gold and silver legal tender. And what these states are doing is that they're preparing for local currencies based on gold and silver because they know that the Federal Reserve note is on borrowed time. So do not worry about confiscation. Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen. Let's see. Bob's Chop Shop. Tony should do a video on PCV conversion and where it's a good idea. I did it early on. It was like in the first year or two that we were doing this channel. More parquet. I got my first question, Uncle Tony. First question. Somebody asked, okay, all right. Somebody asked you a question. They asked how to get valve covers to stop leaking. I said, you're asking me? I'm brand new. But you said the questions would come. Okay, it's a Mopar question, right? I'm assuming that it was for Mopar, all right? And they changed the valve cover gaskets, but it's still leaking, right? Tell them that the valve cover is cracked behind the bolt hole. You get these little tiny cracks that happen behind the bolt hole. People over tighten them, and you can't see them unless you know it's there. Unless you know it's there, it'll drive you crazy. It'll drive you crazy. You drive the car for 20 miles, 30 miles, and you see like oil all over the place. And you go looking for the leak, and there's no leak. You can't find it. It's a little crack that happens behind the bolt hole on the bottom of the valve cover. Tell them that they'll think you're a genius. They're like, oh my God, this girl knows everything. Jerem's Garage. I bought a few Goldbacks a few years ago. Those are pretty cool. So did I. I think they're so beautiful. I just wanted to have them because they were beautiful. So I bought some. Are they Nevadas or Utah? Nevadas. I bought some. Now I don't even remember the damn denomination. But like I said, they were so beautiful. I wanted, so I bought 100 of them. D. Hackins, thank you for the super chat. eBay got Harley Davidson cam bushings for $16. Okay. Yeah, they're out there. I haven't bothered looking yet. I know I'll find them. I know I'll find them cheap. Captain Kurt's Garage. Here's what's crazy. I worked for one of the big three, and they sat there and said that the cars we are selling for $90,000 only cost them about $13,000 to build. Yes, but the structure of these companies is just so out of whack that you know what? I tell you what, this is a topic I don't even want to really get into right now because I could talk about this all freaking night, and I don't want to go there right now. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Stephen Birkeland. I got a 70 Charger 500, originally 318 engine. I bought it with a 383 and pulled it out, sold it. I got a 68 440, a 10-to-1 compression ratio, and an Enerbox CH23, dual 6 1/4. Nice. Nice. That sounds like a nice car. Raider Gods, that's an 85.56% profit margin. Well, it's not actually a profit margin, right? The way these companies are structured with all of their liabilities, it's not. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, but not now. Let's see. What is silver doing right now? I got to take a quick look, guys. I'm curious. Just want to see what the market's up to. These are very interesting times for us alternative economy people. I got to tell you. What do we got? So currently, gold is at 4,500, 4,506. It's down 12%. I'm sorry, it's down $12, 0.28%. Silver is at 77.55. It's currently up 67 cents. 77.55. Well, that's not right. Okay, well, either way, 77.55. Let's see where it goes. 77.63. Okay. Stephen Berkman, on a 440 with 10-1 compression, show how the Edelbrock CH20 dual quad 625 will work. It's a good mid rate. It's very similar to the factory dual quad intake. It's a good mid range. It's a good mid. It's a straight intake manifold. It'll give you approximately the same performance as a 6-pack. It'll have about the same. Yeah, actually, if you were to put that thing together, you pair a 6 1/4 Edelbrocks or Carters and a 446 pack, and you were to run them out, you'd say, well, it's the same thing. Like that's exactly what it's going to feel like. It's not a particularly good bottom end manifold. It's definitely not a top end manifold, but in that mid range, 2,500, 2,500 to like 5,500 or so. It's a good intake. It's a good intake. Make sure you use a staged linkage on that, a progressive linkage. Don't run that thing with the two carburetors 1-to-1. You want a staged linkage. So you want the first 25% of throttle, right, is only going to be the front barrels of the back carburetor. Everything else is closed. And then once you get past 25% throttle, then you start bringing in the primaries on the front carburetor. So you want to have a staged progressive throttle linkage on that, or it'll never run quite right. It'll drink a bunch of gas and it'll run like shit around town at low speeds. So progressive throttle. Barracuda, I'm pretty sure a new 57 Chevy was capable of 60 mile an hour all day. Yeah, 60 was the traveling speed. 55, 60 miles an hour was the main traveling speed pre-interstate. So always add 10 miles an hour to whatever the speed limit is, and that's the general traveling speed. So yeah, the 57 will run perfectly capable all day at 60. Go to 70 and it starts being a little unhappy, right? It doesn't want to go there, but it will. Obviously it will. Now travel at 75 or 80 miles an hour, which is like just regular traffic. That's just keeping up with regular traffic and maintain that 70, 80 miles an hour going uphill, for any, and that thing is just miserable. So you got to keep that in mind. That's why I don't really recommend 50s cars for today's modern, traffic. Well, Parquet, the fact that you sit here and answer all these questions is nothing short of amazing. No, it's because I'm freaking autism. It's just, I'm an idiot in a lot of respects, and then the car stuff, it's just stuck in my head. Tony B. They've been saying silver was going to take off for years. It finally did. No, it didn't. No, not even close. You have no, this is nothing. If you think this run up in silver is a big deal, you have no clue. Silver has not even begun to move up yet. When it does, you'll know. Rocco's is asking, okay. XP29 GOGs. Wow, you got the whole. I guess that's a 70 charger that you owned. If you guys who don't know, XP is the charger, 29 two-door hardtop. The G is the 318. The 0 is the well. Viofly lead bullion is the future. Nah. Joker, Tony, I think your marketplace videos can be alternatively titled Marketplace for Dummies. I'm going to do one of those a week because I genuinely enjoy them. It's different, and I like that. So once a week, I'm going to go hunting for something. I'll probably pick one particular day of the week and make it, like Marketplace Fridays or whatever it is, right? But yeah, that's the thing. Those videos aren't getting any views. I was surprised. The first one got okay. It's got like 28 or 29,000 now. The second one, the last one we did, has only got like 17,000 views. So it's not like it's getting good traction or anything. But the comments were great. The comments like, yeah, do more like this. This was fun. And honestly, I need more fun on this channel. So if you guys having fun with that, then yes, let's do this, right? So I'm definitely going to go hunting for something every week on Marketplace. Territory Tony Angelo from Stay Tuned did a marketplace experience contacting sellers. You should do a video bartering gold for an XJ. No, I want the gold XJ. I can get all the XJs I want. Gold is no. I don't let go of the gold. Marketplace Monday. Oh, I like that. That's Dean Stevenson. America is all about speed, hot, nasty speed. Where did that come from? That was a line from a movie, wasn't it? That's a Hunter S. Thompson thing, right? Yeah. John Cram, the marketplace videos were great. Thank you. Matt, I love the marketplace videos. Excellent. Okay, yeah, no, I'm definitely going to do more. Definitely. Talladega Nights. Okay, is that where it came from? Okay. Wayne Buzzle. How about a motorcycle marketplace? Okay, let's wait until let's wait until spring starts to show its face a little bit. SEME 2P carbide takes up less space than copper, around $10 to $14 scrap. Yeah, but carbide is not a monetary. Technically, copper isn't a monetary metal either, but it has been a monetary metal. So in previous times, when silver was actually in circulation in the coinage, there wasn't enough silver to go around. So they started incorporating copper into it, and that's where your copper pennies and all of that came from. Now that silver is becoming difficult, copper is the next thing. I'm telling you. I told you about silver years ago. I'm telling you about copper now. That's where you want to be looking. Sweaty fat guy. Yeah, the piles of snow in Tennessee is really hindering Tony's driving now. It's getting well. Okay, this last week was beautiful. It was in the 60s and 70s like all week. I tell you, I was out riding a motorcycle in a t-shirt. It was just the nicest day, right? But right now the temperature is dropping, and it's going from the 70s today to a high of 30 tomorrow. So that's the thing about Tennessee. We get these little reprieves during the winter where it's like, oh, yeah. It's like we get like Florida weather for a week or two, and then boom, right back down into the freeze. So yeah. William Ford. Old tail, no action, Tony. That's me. Yes, yes. Thank you for recognizing it. Tony B. They need tons and tons of copper in data centers. Tony, I tell you what, right? Honestly, now, so that's the big talk. Oh, they need silver for this, and they need copper for that, and it's you need it for EVs, and they need it for solar, and they need it for all of these industrial uses. And yes, they do need it for industrial uses. But what's happening right now is a debasement trade. It's almost like they're using the industrial uses for these metals as a diversion from what's actually going on. And what's actually going on is a debasement trade. It's the US dollar being debased against these commodities and monetary metals. So yes, they do need a ton of copper for data centers and whatnot, but that's just the smallest bit of what's really going on. What's really going on right now is a dollar collapse. I'm just scrolling back up here, guys. Joker, what was the peak in silver around 2011 from? Same thing. Same thing. The peak in silver in 1880 was the same thing. But at that time, the which word I'm looking for, the alternative economy, or the ruling banks, right? The ruling banking systems. Okay, the monetary cartels had far much more leverage than they do now. So they were able to manipulate prices down. It's like the Hunt Brothers story for 1980. That's nonsense. That's ridiculous. That was the excuse. That was the cover for it. Okay. So silver ran to $50 an ounce. It ran from whatever it was, a dollar an ounce to $50 an ounce in 1980. And then they claimed that it was the Hunt Brothers trying to corner the market, and they blasted it right back down again. So that was a 1980 high. But what that was the original end of this dollar system. So essentially what happened was, beginning at that period of time, Reagan basically handed the running of the government over to Paul Volcker, the Federal Reserve. Policy was going to go through economic policy was going to go through the Federal Reserve. That's how that worked. And they beat silver back down, well, to where I started buying it like $4 an ounce from that 50. So what you had was the beginning of an economic collapse in 1980, and silver showed that. And then you had the manipulation, okay, changing of policies. At that point, silver came straight down like this, and then ran for until 2011, where it started to come up a little bit. And in 2011, great financial crisis, another period of financial collapse, it ran to $50 again. And then once again, they changed all of the rules. They changed the whole economic system, okay? And it came back down again. So that peak from 1980 to 2011, peak $50, down to $4, back to $50, is known in charting as a cup, okay? And then you went from 2011, 2012 until this last year, where you had another small deal like this, right? And in charting, that's known as a handle. So you had a cup, and a handle. And we're doing right now is breaking out of that pattern, the cup and the handle, and it's on its way up, right? So this is a debasement thing. This is the collapse of the economy as you know it, the collapse of the dollar as you know it. It's going to get really interesting. From this point forward, it's going to get really interesting. Bob's Chop Shop. On most dual quad setups on the street, would you run a progressive linked or one-to-one? I think most applications progressive would be lean on some cylinders. No, I would never run a dual quad setup on a streetcar one-to-one. Just no. There's never any reason to do that. No. Always progressive linkage. Tony B says, "Oh shit." Tony says we're all doomed. I never said that. I never said that at all. Some people are. Depending on where you are in the financial spectrum, right? And I don't mean like rich or poor. I mean where you're hedging your bets. Okay, is your income based on tangible, tradable, barterable, necessary things, or is your income based on paper and promises and illusions and stuff like that? So depending on where you're positioned in the world, okay, you're either doomed, and I'm telling you, if you're in paper, if you're in anything that isn't physically tangible, you can't touch it, a service that you can provide, a thing that people need, you're screwed. It's that simple. You're screwed. If you've got a trade, if you're invested in tangible goods, things, right? Cars, tools, machining. If you're a plumber, an electrician, a carpenter, name it, whatever. You're going to do fine. You're just going to do absolutely great during this transitional period. So no, we're not all doomed. Some of you are though. Bob's Chop Shop. How about on a tunnel ram? Yeah, same thing on a tunnel ram. Tunnel ram is no different. Joker, the problem is no one in my family and household gets this. I'm the one looked at as a lunatic. They're only going to look at you as a lunatic for a little while longer. Bro, I've been the black sheep of my family my whole life because of stuff like this. So you're not alone. You're absolutely not alone. Just stay on track. Stay on track, and you'll see things are going to work in your favor. They will eventually come around to understanding. Steve Berkland, the Everbrock CH20 dual quad setup. I like to reverse the front carburetor and run both carburetors simultaneously so the front carburetor's gas doesn't go stale. What's the matter with just going to half throttle every once in a while? Look, I've been messing around with dual quads. like 50 years. Okay, and I'm not claiming to be the dual quad guru. Okay, but what I'm telling you is I've been messing around with them for 50 years. Okay, and I'm telling you, a street setup, something that you're going to drive, always under all circumstances, always progressive linkage. C. Dale Brumley. If you put $10,000 in silver and gold and the S&P 500 in 1980, today you would have $17,800 in silver, $60,500 in gold, and $176,000 in the S&P. You see, that's one of those tricks, okay? Because they're basing it off of the $50 high of 1980, which was an aberration in the chart, okay? No, go now, do it as an average from 1975 to 1985. Find the average price of silver between 1975 and 1985, and then make that calculation, and you'll see that you're way, way ahead with silver right now. Painfully average 73. When did Mopar quality start falling? I'm thinking the early 50s. 50s. The noticeable drop in quality on Chrysler products really started, in my mind. Okay, now there were certain things that they got a little bit cheaper with being the switch between 1967 and 1968. A couple of small things to indicate that. But the quality really started to fall in 1970. That was the year that it started. That was the year that, I'll give you an example, just an example, right? All of the 1969 B bodies had padded dashboards, right? So they had a padded top part, and then around the gauges and across the whole dash and the glove compartment was padded. It was vinyl with padding underneath it. In 1970, all of that nice padded vinyl became plastic, hard molded plastic. And that was like, to me, in my mind, that's the first indication of them really cheaping out that you can see, right? Tangible example of that. And the result of that is that a 1970 B body doesn't have the same feel as a 1969 B body. That small bit of padding in the dashboard, or not a small bit, but the padding in the dashboard made the interior feel a little more solid, right? In a barely tangible way, but it's there. If you drive a 1969 B body and you jump immediately into a 1970 B body, you can feel the difference. You can absolutely feel the difference between the 2 years. You don't notice it if you just get in a car, 70 B body, it's like, okay, well, that's what it feels like. But if you actually drive back to back a 69 and a 70, you can definitely feel the difference in the solidness of the interior of the car. Three factor, progressive dual quads on a blower too? No, blower treats the carburetors differently. No, I mean, you could run progressive linkage on a blower, but a blower creates a vacuum signal separate from the engines, so it treats carburetors differently. That's why you can run such a huge carburetor on a blower intake manifold and still get incredible throttle response where you don't get it normally aspirated. So you go either way with a blower setup, but for normally aspirated, definitely progressive. Let's see. Loud pipes save lives. We need a I Know What I Got episode of the Marketplace Chronicles. It's comical what some people are asking for roast-out vehicles. I know. We'll do that. We'll definitely do that. Let's see. Okay, I'm scrolling back up here. The fallen one, 798. Gold will only be recognized as currency by government, so plan accordingly. Taxman. Silver too. Many states are over the last year or two, in Florida right now actually, have already declared gold and silver to be legal tender. Bob's Chop Shop. Okay, I have my tunnel ram on my 3-3 1-to-1 with the 600. L-box, and it works pretty well, but maybe I'll have a look at a progressive length. Try it. I'm telling you, it's just so much cleaner. Park throttle. See, it's different. A race car is different, right? A race car is just you're idling along, you're in the throttle for burnout, and then it's wide open throttle. So 1-to-1 makes sense. That's the thing to do. But when it's just simple logic, right? If you're driving around at just off idle, right? You're obviously getting a stronger signal through the boosters of the two barrels that are open than you would if you had four barrels partially open. So if you've got a better signal through the boosters at that small throttle opening, you've got better atomization. It's going to be a more efficient, cleaner running engine. And you've probably got the same Y-Antel rim that I've got on my 3-3. There's enough of a plenum there that all of the cylinders will share from those primary barrels on the back carburetor. I'm scrolling up here. Sweaty fat guys all over the map here. Since blowers are different than dual quads and tunnel rams, I figure we should clarify. Cross rams, though, what about them? Cross ram is not okay. So street cross rams. When I say street cross ram, the only real street cross ram out there was a Chrysler long ram setup, and yes, it ran the carbs 1-to-1. You had to in that situation. The carburetors, you couldn't idle four cylinders that weren't attached off the barrels of one carburetor over here. So you needed both carburetors to operate simultaneously. Cross rams inherently, when we talk about like a traditional type of cross ram, big, huge, open plenum, they're not a street manifold. They were never intended to be a street manifold. That's a race manifold. So you would run them 1-to-1. I know a tunnel ram is a race manifold also, but they're different. You don't have that same distribution that you do with a cross ram. So yes, on a cross ram, I would run them 1-to-1, but I wouldn't be running a cross ram on the street. Unless, again, you're talking about something like the Chrysler long ram setup, which is not a race deal. That's a mid-range. That was designed to work in a 3,000 RPM range, passing gear, stuff like that. Lean Burn Cordoba, do you think the 69 Z20 had 1-to-1 linkage? It did. It had to be the same as Max Wedge setup. Yes, but the cross ram didn't come on the engine when you bought it off. It came in the trunk, and it was intended for racing. It wasn't intended to be used on the street like that. It was intended for racing. So you bought the Z28 and you ordered that setup. The same thing with the AMCs, the They had the same option. I forget which model it was on. Was it the AMX or was it the Rambler Scrambler? I don't remember. They had the same setup with the cross fan, and they give it to you in the trunk, and then you would put it on the car. Yes, they were one-to-one, but they were never intended to be used on the street that way. It was for race package. Um, Bob's Chop Shop. Bob, when we first put Slag Hammer together, um, that car went on Power Tour. Mopar Al took that car on Power Tour and drove whatever it was like 2,000 miles. I forget exactly. But when he was driving it on Power Tour, I had the carburation set up progressive. So when he was like, cruising the highway, that sort of thing, it had 323 gears in it. And it was so that if it was just like 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, he was only on the primaries of the rear carburetor. And it was only after he finished Power Tour, and we put slicks on it and all the other shit. And then I changed the linkage to one-to-one. Yui Voigt, would you recommend a Holley carburetor for a 425 rocket engine from 66? No, I'd put an Edelbrock on there. You trust me, you'll especially being where you are, okay? You'll be miles ahead with an Edelbrock. And that 425, I would put an 800 on it. Get an Edelbrock 800. Don't look back. You'll be thrilled with it. Man Joe 20, what do you think is the simplest way to make good power on these classic V8s? I speak in the world of small blocks. Obviously, everyone says heads, cam, intake, but what's your budget build sheet for fun? Everybody has a different threshold of fun. Like, what kind of fun are you looking for? What's the simplest way to make good power with anything is to define what it is you're like. That's the biggest thing. You need to define your goals. What do you expect from this car? What's its ultimate use going to be? And then from there, you can determine what package is going to give you the simplest way to make power. There's no one size fits all answer to that question. Define the exact purpose of the car, and then define the car. So the exact purpose of this car is to be a fun daily driver that'll go like 13s in the quarter mile. All right, so there's your goal, right? And you just got to run on pump gas, whatever. So there's the goal. Now you say, all right, so the car weighs how much? And I've got what gear, and I've got what transmission, and what tires am I going to run on this thing? All of these other factors. And then when you determine that, then you can look at, well, now how do we make the power to best suit that application? I know that's like the biggest runaround answer anybody could ever give you, but that's the honest answer. Does that make sense, man, Joe? Excellent. Okay. Lean Berncudo would like to get a St. Regis. I actually happen to like those cars. Street strip, low 12s, daily usage, reliable, only vehicle, pump gas, good mileage, street tires, high gear, basically stock. Honestly, a 440 is really you're going for a 440 swap because a 440 with all of the usual mild bolt-ons, cam intake headers, ignition, properly set up ignition, not just, oh, I'll just take this thing out of the box and put it in, but a properly set up ignition, exhaust, 323 gear, 355 gear, like that. That's really your most efficient path to that, right? A 440. A 440. Plan your build around that. Let's see. Rotated 440. I love 440s. I figured that out by your name. Firefly, you will chase perfection in a Holly for the rest of your life. Absolutely. KJ Kylie, Tony, how about progressive linkage on a Mopar 6-pack? Well, let me tell you something, okay? First, if you don't need progressive linkage on it because it's vacuum secondary. The primary carburetor is connected to the throttle. The secondary carburetors are connected via vacuum. So to say it's like a vacuum 4-barrel, so it's a vacuum 6-barrel. And it's the same for a Chevy. Actually, the Chrysler used Chevy carburetors. Not exactly. The fuel inlet's on the opposite side, but you get the idea. The upgrade for the 446 pack and 346 pack, if you went to the Chrysler dealer and you said, I want the upgrade carbs for my 6-pack setup, what you got were Ford carburetors, the same ones that they used on the 406s and the 427s. You got was Ford carburetors with the side hung float bowls and progressive linkage, mechanical linkage. And let me tell you something, night and day. The stock 446 pack set up the way Chrysler had it set up, right? And it was difficult to get those carburetors to tune right because you got the two 500 CFM outboards. If you weren't careful, would just flop open and just drown the motor. It's just dead, right? So the springs that they used were very heavy, and so they didn't come on for a while. So if you tuned a 446 pack, you kept lightening the springs until you finally got that bog, and then you went a little bit heavier with the springs to get rid of the bog, all right? And if that's how far you went with the tuning of the 6-pack, and then all you did was take those carburetors off and bolt those Ford carburetors on, was that you would get the direct connection night and freaking day, right? It would blaze the tires there's like traction problem galore, right? Where you didn't have that with the vacuum setup. Instant throttle response, buku bottom end torque. So yes, progressive linkage on a 446 pack, night and day. And the reason you had to use those Ford carburetors is because they had accelerator pumps in the outboard carbs, where obviously on the vacuum operated outboard carbs on the stock setup, there was no accelerator pump. So that's why you needed the Ford carb with the side hung float bowl, and there would be room for accelerator pump. And that's because the carburetors are grouped so tightly together. There's no room for a metering block and accelerator pump on the outboard carburetors when you use the center flung float bowls. I'm scrolling up here. Clayton's Toolbox. Any way to make a Turbo Hydro 400 have less parasitic load? I'm sure there are, but I'm not familiar with them. there's a lot of applications where they'll, and probably that's one of them, where they'll replace bushings with roller bearings and stuff like that. But I couldn't tell you exactly. Google it. I'm sure there's a million Turbo 400 people out there that know all of the tips and tricks. Snowball. Guess I'll ask my carb question I asked at the end of the last live. 360 AMC, 1979 Jeep Cherokee. Have a performer intake and a Holly and a Quadrajet carbs. Carb choice, and should I use a spacer under it? Use the Quadrajet. Yes, use the Quadrajet and should use a spacer under it. Performer intake. A 1-inch spacer would not hurt. Yeah, you've got all the hood clearance in the world on that thing. So yeah, I would throw a 1-inch spacer and I would use the Quadrajet. Dave Scrimshaw, question: is there a way to convert an Aussie slant 6 throttle cable to work on American cars? Dave, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. How is an Australian slant 6 throttle cable different than an American one? I know they sit on opposite sides. I get that, but Dave, ask that question a little more. Ask it another way. And I'll be watching for Dave. I'm scrolling up. Barracuda saying, I know a man who got a hold of an Edelbrock tri-power type intake with carbs for his 318 poly engine. Any multiple carb setups for and they came from the factory with dual class in some applications. But yeah, for gold, any performance intake manifold for poly is just gold. And I'm still looking for Dave Scrimshaw's. Oh, it's too long? Jeez, I don't know, Dave. I don't know the measurements on. So other than just swapping positions from, because you're driving from the opposite side now, Chrysler didn't make any at least I'm aware of. The plugs and all of the fittings of things are all the same. Lengths may be different, but let's say on that particular setup where the throttle cable bolts to the pedal assembly is going to be the same, whether it's American or Australian. And the linkage on the carburetor that it attaches to, and the linkage, the bracket that holds the cable, that's going to be the same also. So I don't see any reason why you couldn't use the longer cable with the short. You shouldn't have any problem with that. Power toys, are the Underdash 60s AC units electric or normal and just an afterthought? They're the underhood, the knee knockers is called knee knockers. What they are is you've got a compressor, and what the hell is the name of it now? Somebody mentioned the name of these compressors. It's It's the same compressor used on the Fords and the AMCs. It's a single cylinder upright compressor. Somebody will throw the name of it in there, and then mounted under the hood. And then under the dashboard, you would have the evaporator and the blower motor in that part that hung from under the dash. So that part was obviously done electronically, you know, the blower motor, but the rest of it was normal AC system. And actually, in terms of work, okay, so dealing with a car with an add-on AC system is easier than dealing with a car that has factory air. I know it sounds crazy, right? But those universal systems, like when you got to work underneath the dashboard of, let's say, a mid-60s Mopar, right? One without AC, everything is very easy to get to, very simple to service. Like if you have to do like a heater core, it's easy to drop the box out, no big deal. Factory AC cars, oh, freaking nightmare. It's like just bypass the hose and let it leak, right? Because it's that much work. If it's got an aftermarket like a knee knocker set up on there, it's two bolts. You drop the thing out of the way, you move it out of the way, and then you have this wide open space underneath the dashboard. So I actually prefer the add-on AC systems to the factory ones. Bowtie Classics, yes. Thank you. The York compressor, yes. Oh man, 2 hours? Oh geez, we blew through 2 hours already. I have to roll another cigarette. Another couple of minutes, and I got to cut it short. This has been a tough live to do because my tongue is swollen. Like every time I close my mouth, I'm biting my tongue. I have to learn how to eat like a human. Mexican Spec is saying, I knew you wouldn't end early, Tony. I like hanging with you guys. I mean, you know, I like hanging with you guys. So, and yes, Fubar. Thank you, Fubar. Put up the link to my merch, UncleTony'sGarage.com. So you want hats, t-shirts, or anything else we have, like stickers, all kinds of stuff. Kathy Bananas runs it. I don't even know what's in there, but did Fubar put up the link for it? Thank you so much, Fubar. So if you guys want to support the channel, that's a great way to do it. Also, throw a like up there or a dislike. Just hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up, hit something right, on your way out because it does affect the channel. The algorithm, you see, YouTube looks for interactions. So they look for comments. How many comments are there? They look for likes. They look for dislikes. And likes and dislikes count the same way. So, I mean, if you won't hurt my feelings if you put a thumbs down, it's just a reaction. So it does help the channel. It helps get us out there. So that would be awesome for you to do. Thank you so much. As you were saying, we had a good amount of new names on the chat with minimal problems. Yes. And everybody who joined us for the first time tonight, thank you. It's nice having you here. So Wednesday we'll be on Wednesday night, New Year's Eve, and we're probably gonna just hang. So it's gonna be a long live. But let's get there first. Let's get there first. So we'll definitely be on this Wednesday, New Year's Eve. I got to thank our awesome mods, Zero, Mexican Spec, Fubar, guys. Thank you so much as always, and everybody contributed super chat. Thank you. It's always appreciated but never expected. Thank you, and everybody who contributed with your presence and your conversation. Thank you equally. I appreciate all of you guys. And if it wasn't for your clicks, I wouldn't be able to sit here and do this stuff. Right? So thank you. And that's it, guys. I am going to hit the out button. Let's make this an even 2 hours because right now we're minute 59, 36, 37, 38. 30. Okay, so we got 20 seconds because I want to try to stop this at 2000. Right, 15 seconds to go. Did I forget anything? Dr. Art on Monday nights. Go check out Buff Del Campo's channel. They do lives all the time. You guys go over there. And Jamie at Dead Dodge Garage, and he's on right now, so you can go over there and go annoy him. Guys, thank you so much. Good night.